Good morning, everyone. This is Lisa Lashendro, one of the annuity sales directors here at Insurance Agency Marketing Services. And I have the privilege of having my buddy Austin Eller on as well. And we're going to talk about these extreme bonus increases that North American is at it again, just really competitive with what's going on in the market. I just want to throw out there, I really do believe that this is going to be the year of the bonuses because we're starting to see a lot of that opportunity. Old, annuities and that other folks have. Annuities have just gone up and up as far as being competitive. And so if you've got an annuity, even if it's got like a 5% surrender, or maybe in year 4, we could probably get them in a better situation. So this webinar is going to really key in on how you can achieve those opportunities with those clients and prospects that you have. And I'm going to go ahead and get started so we can get to the good stuff. Now, I do see that we have quite a few folks and I recognize your names. So welcome back. Happy New Year to the IMS family. Those agents already in the IMS family. There are some folks here though that are very new. I've not, don't believe I've spoken with you before. So if this is your first webinar with us, welcome aboard. I'm going to go over a couple of things, so that you understand what you're working with and what you get when you're working with IMS. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and get started. When you contract with IMS, and I hope everybody can you see my screen, Austin?
I absolutely can.
Sweet. Okay. So right out of the gate, when you contract with IMS, you start writing that production in the first 6 months, we're going to give you a little something, something back to show you our active partnership with you. And that comes in the amount of resources, or maybe it's just cash to help you pay for some of the marketing things or business expenses that you're experiencing. Really, our goal for our new producer bonus is to help you continue grow your business. That's what we do here. So depending on what premium level you hit, and that includes life insurance, we will talk to you. You'll talk to your marketing director, life or on the annuity side, and we can chat about a little bit what your marketing goals are, and maybe throw out some suggestions if that's what you'd like. So any questions on any of this, don't hesitate to let me know. Next, there's no better compliment in our industry than a referral. I hope you're basing your business on referrals as well. I know I've got, I see a couple agents on our attendee here that is awesome at getting referrals, and it's a huge opportunity that you're walking away from if you're not. But what I'm going to do, or what Steve Murray, I should say, is going to do, is he's going to let you know how much he appreciates you referring a producing producer over to us by cash. So any life target, indexed annuity, SPL, MIGA business that they're doing, we're going to send you a check on a quarterly basis for that, because without you, we wouldn't have that business coming in the door. So that's our thank you to you. If you have any questions on that, let me know. Back office support, we're the best in the industry. I don't mean to brag, but I'm going to brag. We are the best. Our new business department is remarkable when it comes to making sure your cases are getting processed accurately, trying to find those mistakes before they go to the carrier so we can try to prevent any additional signatures or trips back to the client. We're here to get those processed in and out as fast as possible. I know you've all probably experienced some bad turnaround times with carriers out there, but we don't care if they have a 10-day processing time. We're still going to follow up with you every 3 days to make sure you haven't forgot about our client and our agent. So keep that in mind. You've got your marketer, your sales director, whether it's on the life or annuity side, to do all your case design work for you, talk about the cases. And there's a lot of products out there, and not a one carrier can fit all hats. You just can't. So we are trained and stay in touch on a daily basis of what's happening there out in the market for life and annuity business. And, like Austin, he'll give me a heads up. Oh, we're going to have a rate increase. Oh, we're going to have a bonus. Well, I'm going to know that, but the industry might not know that. It can't be shared. Um, so we're gonna keep you guys focused on that and make sure that we're able to give your clients the best possible options in the industry. Next, here's our IMS website, www.imzinc.com. That's all you need to do. Save it in your browser. Take a look at it. If you ever want any of us to show you the tips and tricks around our website, it's pretty easy. I've heard it's a very easy website to navigate around. You have your Firelight on here, which we'll talk about in just a moment. Sales support, sales resource library, where there's a ton of compliance approved material you can share, presentations, just any life quotes, other quote requests. Gosh, there's just a lot. So I encourage you to take a peek at that. Let me know, or your director know, if you have any questions. As I mentioned, we have Firelight, and that is on our website as well. I don't know an easier way to process your application. Okay. If you're not using Firelight, you need to get going on it. And that's, tech savvy or not, if I can walk a 98-year-old through an app on Firelight, I guarantee I can walk you through it too. I'm up for the challenge. It's just, once you do a Firelight app or e-app, you're never going to go back because you're 100% confident you're going to have the correct forms. I had an agent a couple months ago. He had to get corrected forms and go back to the client 4 or 5 times because he had old forms sitting in his office. If you would have just done it on Firelight, he would have been guaranteed to have that correct form, because there are form updates. There are things like that that are happening that we might not always catch. Plus, you're going to have all the answers completed. You're not going to miss anything. You have to have 100% complete before you can submit the app for signatures. Austin, is there anything that you want to add? I mean, I think it's encouraging to hear from the carrier standpoint of using
Yep.
Firelight and e-apps.
I can't say enough about Firelight and e-application. Like Lisa said, if you're not doing them now, try to look to do that here in the near future. I think right now, last numbers I saw, we're above 70% of our applications coming in via e-application. So the majority of people by far are doing them. And then when you look at the NIGO rates on paper apps versus Firelight applications, if it is a paper app, the NIGO rates jump exponentially. It's something like 3 or 4 times what it is for a Firelight application, all because of the reasons that Lisa had just mentioned, right? You have to put in 100%, or you have to fill out the app 100% done, right? We all know, guys, an annuity application or fixed index annuity application, they're long, right? And we carriers, we don't necessarily want them to be long, but unfortunately, due to a lot of regulations that we have to follow, they do have to be long. And with that being said, there's a lot of questions. There's a lot of, boxes that are small and maybe easy to miss on a paper application, but on an e-application, obviously you can't continue until you get everything finished. And a lot of other things too is, on our comparison forms on the e-application, if you go into that, a lot of the comparison side for our own product is already filled out. Whereas if you pull just a general comparison form from our website that you're going to do via paper, you have to fill out all of that column, right? So there's a bunch of different things inside of our e-application too. We have what's called suitability pre-check, where you can submit a condensed suitability form, no client signatures needed, and then you can get a yes or no as to whether or not that's a case that we will take as for suitability. So you can know up front if we're going to take one of those in between cases. But when it just comes to the e-app, I mean, it just makes things so much easier for us to approve, guys. We don't have to have someone go and manually input what we received on the app into our systems, because it's obviously typed out through the computer. It just automatically gets input and read by our systems too. So, I mean, I can't say enough things about the e-application. I do think in the next coming years, I mean, we've already seen it with some carriers who do it via the MIGA, where they force everything to be via the e-app. I would
Hmm.
guess in the next 5 years, you're going to start seeing that be a requirement, right? If we start to get to the 80 to 90% of range for e-applications, at some point, carriers are going to start saying, we're going to require it because it makes business so much easier. And then you won't deal with companies having those 3 to 4 to 5 week holds, because a lot of the times what starts those waves of big holds is a bunch of NIGOs on applications. And then if, new business is
Hmm.
looking at a case 3 or 4 times rather than just once, it slows things up. Sorry, I went a little long there, but I think e-apps are so great and they make it so much easier for everyone. So
Absolutely. I have had so many agents thank me for walking them through it and wondering why they haven't been doing it this whole time. I'm glad you mentioned, speaking of North American on our Firelight, that pre-qualify um, app doesn't require any signatures, Austin. If I remember
correct.
correctly, if they, if they get it the green light and it says this would be approved, we would accept this case. Don't they just have to go in and pretty much hit submit back into Firelight and it's done?
Correct. So the nice part about our suitability pre-check, so let's say, for instance, you guys have a case where 70% of the client's net worth is going to be in annuities. And we all know, once you start getting to the range, that can be, a hairy number. And you want to find out who will take the case. Well, you can do our suitability pre-check. What it is essentially, like she had said, it's a condensed suitability form, but there's no client signatures. So you as the agent, as long as you have all the information, can just go plug it in. And then let's say once you submit it, if we come back and say, yes, this is the case that we will take, what happens is we create a policy number for you from that suitability pre-check. And once you go back into the suitability pre-check, you can continue to the e-app. It'll automatically input everything that you had put in that suitability form into the e-application, so you don't have to duplicate efforts. Now, all of a sudden, 90% of your suitability and comparison forms are filled out. You don't have to do them a second time, and we're going to take them. And all you have to do is just the rest of the application, your general client details, names, address, beneficiaries, etc. So that is a great feature. And I recommend doing that for anyone who, if you ever have any of those in between cases and you don't want to deal with submitting a policy to a company and then them rejecting it and you having to find a second spot.
Hmm. And the turnaround time actually is what?
We say 24 to 48 hours. I tell you what, guys, I all the time see people submit it in the morning, and by early to mid afternoon, they have an answer, yes or no. And a lot of the times, what I love about it is if we say no, we'll say, this is why we can't take this, but if you can maybe shed more light around this whole scenario or provide more information in this regard, it's something that we could maybe get above and take. So just a
Everything's just
great
a
feature we have on our
conversation
app.
away, guys. Just a conversation
Yep,
away.
absolutely.
All right. Well, I think we've made our point. I think we've preached enough. Moving on. Our creative marketing services, these guys are so talented. I have never had an agent come back and say, yeah, it's all right, but I wish, this or that. No, they're usually blown away. So I've had logo designs, revamping logo designs, creating websites, um, revamping business cards. Maybe it's social media, maybe it's whatever. Anything that you're interested in or that you feel like that you could maybe use a little help, or maybe you just want us to review it and have a fresh set of eyes, we can certainly do that. So keep that in mind. Next, we have our IMS Wealth Management, and I just love these guys. I'm going to put a poll here so that why I talk about this, you guys can say yes if you want my boy Duncan to reach out to you. But IMS Wealth Management is a sister company. We, Charles and Steve were kind of thinking, what else do I need to have IMS be that one-stop shop? What else can we provide our agents? And well, it's the AUM side of the business, right? So if you're already registered, you're going to get a lot of benefits. It's going to be the same kind of service you get with us here. They do all your processing, follow up, they'll do your presentations. I mean, you just bring the client to the table and they do all the work for you. That's really the gist of it. They'll do your website. I mean, compliance when you're registered, someone taking care of that for you is a lifesaver. But let's talk about those that are not registered. And let's talk about those folks that, you know, you can still use IMS Wealth Management if you're not registered to do securities. Um, they'll help you get registered and help you with your exam if that's something you're interested in going into. But they'll also help you keep your client in your own backyard. So, I mean, when I was an agent, my teeth just would grind down to the bone when I had to split my commission with somebody that was registered, knowing that they needed to be in the market. Maybe they were a young, 20 some years old or whatever. An annuity probably wasn't going to be the best fit. Maybe they weren't insurable. So the next best thing is going to be just putting them in the market and see what we could do there. Well, I wasn't registered yet, but I had to bring somebody else in. They got 100% of that plus 50% of any other apps that I wrote that I didn't need their help on. Well, it's different with IMS Wealth Management. You can bring Zachary, Duncan, or anybody in, to a client situation. You might not be able to get compensated, but at least you're not bringing another agent in that you're going to have to share the rest of the business with. So this is controlling your business. And here's the best part. I think this says the world about IMS Wealth Management. If you did decide to get registered, IMS Wealth Management is going to transfer those clients that they wrote for you back to you. Nobody else in the industry is going to do that. They're not going to just say, oh, well, yeah, you can start getting paid on this instead. IMS Wealth Management does. So I think that says enough about them, tells you the kind of integrity that they have. Any questions, put yes here. And my boy Duncan Smith will be reaching out to you. I'm going to go ahead and close that. We're going to move on. So I know we got a lot of good stuff with Austin to talk about. Every year we do a couple academies. We take care of the cost and all of that. We bring in, it's a lot like our virtual send meeting that we just had here this week, a couple days ago, or yesterday. I guess that was yesterday. But yeah, I've had a lot of my agents go and leave thinking, geez, so many options, so much opportunity, and I'm going to go out there and hit it and go with these case studies and strategies. And North American is usually a partner with us on it. So you get to see Austin Eller face to face. I mean, that's amazing. And then I'll keep moving from that.
Making me chuckle, making me blush over here.
Yeah,
you're just making stuff up now.
I'm just laughing at my own jokes. It's great. What else do we have? We have trips. We want to show our top agents that do 4.5 and up that we really appreciate you. We appreciate you sending that business through us. We appreciate that partnership. So we're going to send you on a special trip somewhere. Still have some qualification. We don't know what the new trip is going to be, but this gives you an example. Qualification for this one ended at the end of this last year in December, but this trip that we're going to be taking our top producers on, and I see a few of those guys in the meeting here today, so congratulations again. Kiowa Island, South Carolina, very nice golf resort, spa resort. It's gonna be a lot of fun things to do, and you get to mingle with the best in the industry. So keep your eye out for the next one. They're usually an 18-month qualification, so we want to make sure we give you plenty of time to qualify. And then that we are a marketing organization, so we're going to have Facebook and LinkedIn. I encourage you to join both. This is our number. This is our website. And with that, Austin, are you ready for me to transfer this to you?
I am ready to go.
All right. Now I'll shut up and you guys can hear from what you came here to hear from.
All righty. Let me pull up my slideshow on full screen. Can you see my screen, Lisa?
I see you.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate everyone taking their time out of Friday. I know, obviously, Fridays, we all love them, and a lot of us like to get out a little bit early. So I appreciate you guys getting on this webinar to hear what Lisa and I have to talk about. I'm going to share a few things on our new Charter Plus update. Lisa said, it's going to be the year of the bonus. We knew that. And it's going to be the year of the bonus, I think, for North American as well. And then lastly, I'll touch on our suitability guidelines. But just to touch on a few things that Lisa had said, I mean, I'll tell you guys this. I've worked with IMES, I think, 2 years now with them. They are fantastic. Lisa's awesome. So many of the things that they do are just tremendous and above and beyond what everyone does. So can't say enough good things about them. And if you guys, need any help, Lisa is your go-to. She's fantastic. Now, what I'm going to do, like I said, talk about our Charter Plus updates, and then a little bit of information in regards to suitability, since it is a bonus product, and we'll probably see a lot of replacements into it. But first, I just wanted to share, if you're worried about North American, who we are financially, etc., we are an A+ rated carrier by all the major rating agencies, AM Best, S&P, and Fitch, right? So when you're talking about financials, strength and stability, that's not something that you need to worry about with North American. At the top right, you're going to see a little gold box that says standing the test of time. It's an award that we were given by AM Best, where we've now been A-rated for 50 years by AM Best. So not only are we A-rated, we've been A-rated for a very long time. And it's something that I truthfully don't talk about, I think, as near as much as I should, right? A lot of these contracts in the industry are 10 plus years long. 10 plus years is a long time. When you think about it from the outside looking in, it doesn't necessarily maybe feel like that. But if you just look back at what's changed in the last 10 years, I mean, so much has, right? You're talking about rates going from all-time lows to going all the way, as high as they've been for however long last year, like we saw. And obviously changing rate environments, changing economic environments, that can be detrimental for, financial carriers. And if they're not ready and prepared, if they don't have strong financials, some of those economic changes can definitely cause some problems for the future. So not a company that you have to worry about when it comes to strength and stability. And I just wanted to share that. You'll also see at the bottom right, our logo is an oak tree leaf by the North American wording right there. That's not by mistake. We did that by design, right? When you think of an oak tree, it's a big, strong tree that can be around for 100 plus years. That's what we want you to think of us. Big, strong carrier. We've been around for 100 plus years, and we have every intention to be around for another 100 plus. Now let's get into the exciting stuff. So Charter Plus, it's a product of ours that years ago was very popular. It kind of took a little bit of a backseat. We came out with different products. We were, more competitive and different in other areas over the last several years. We made some recent changes to this a couple months ago, but we just made some really, really, really big changes here as of the 23rd on this product. So we added what's called a new optional enhanced bonus rider, and then a new Barclays index that performed really well last year as well. So let's just get into the meat and the potatoes of the product here. Really nuts and bolts of it are just we have a 10-year product and a 14-year product. The 10-year can be issued ages 0 through 79. The 14-year can be issued ages 0 through 75. We have a $20,000 minimum to start the contract, but what's unique about it is that it's flexible premium. So you can add money to it throughout the life of the contract. The minimum of $20,000 is only to start the contract. From there on out, there's no technical minimum. I think if you try to send us 12 cents or something like that, we might give you issues. But if you want to put in a couple $100, several years down the road, you absolutely can. Now, I like to break this down into 3 categories. What's the bonus of this product? What's the performance? And what's the liquidity? The big, eye catcher is going to be the bonus on this contract. So let's talk about this in terms of a bonus. We have a 10-year version and a 14-year version. We have a high band and a low band. So the 10-year version, the low band, which is $20,000 to $75,000, that gives you a 7% bonus. The high band gives you a 10% bonus. Let's real quick jump to the 14-year version. The low band is a 9% bonus, and then the high band is a 13% bonus. Now, I hate how we have this slide set up here, because if you jump down to the bottom with me, I'm going to try to highlight it. Oh, I have a green color. I want to try to change it because that blends in a little bit here. If you jump down to the bottom here, I'm going to highlight it. Optional enhanced bonus rider is available on this contract. So you can pay a 95 basis points fee for an optional enhanced bonus rider, or we call it the EBR rider. And that gives you an extra 9% bonus on the 10-year and an extra 12% in bonus on the 14-year. I'll give you a better visual of what those look like. This slide doesn't do the greatest job of showing what those bonuses would be. But long story short, on the 10-year, you can get up to a 19% bonus, and on the 14-year, up to a 25% bonus. Now, when it comes to the performance or indexing strategies, we're going to have a bunch to choose from, guys. We have up to 20 different indexing options to choose from. We have Morgan Stanley, Fidelity, Goldman Sachs, S&P indexes, so all well-known name brands that just give you plenty of diversification options. We don't want to give you one or two different indexing options to choose from on this, where if that one indexing option doesn't perform well, you're stuck. At least we're going to give you a bunch of different indexing options to choose from, and I preach diversification. When it comes to free withdrawals down there in the liquidity section, we have 10% free withdrawals starting in year 2 and 100% nursing home confinement waiver starting in year 2 as well. Now let's get into the bulk of this, right? The big thing is the bonus up front. We just added this new enhanced bonus rider feature, right? And it's optional. You don't necessarily need to get the optional bonus. For example, on the 10-year contract, if you're fine with the 10% bonus and no fee, by all means, go with that. But what you'll see here on this page, it's going to show you all of our base bonuses. So you're going to see base bonus here for the 10-year, base bonus here for the 14-year on each version, whether it's the low band or the high band. But if you decide to add or pay the 95 basis points fee for the optional bonus rider, I'm going to circle it here, guys. I'm trying to do my best with my cursor and circling everything. You are going to get, as I mentioned, 9% in additional bonus on the 10-year, 12% in additional bonus on the 14-year. But really, at the end of the day, it's just going to come down to what is that immediate bonus. And if we look at the far right-hand side of the screen, on the 10-year high band, you can get up to a 19% bonus day one. So you're going to get that bonus day one and start earning interest off of that bonus. So if you put in 100 grand, all of a sudden, instead of earning interest off of 100,000 right away, you're earning interest off of 119,000 right away. And then on the 14-year, go to the way bottom, up to a 25% bonus that you're going to see on this. So huge bonus numbers out there in the industry. I don't know. I think we're in one or two. I think we're atop the game, or maybe second, depending on the amount of premium that you have in majority of these scenarios. And another unique thing that we do, guys, I mentioned that this was a flexible premium product. We are going to guarantee the bonus for the first 3 years on this. Now, on our old version, before we made these updates on the 23rd, we would guarantee the bonus for 7 years. That has decreased to 3, right, guys? These are super high bonuses. We're probably going to see some rate decreases over the course of the next year. Obviously, the Fed has mentioned that they're probably going to be decreasing rates this year. So 7 years was just a little bit too long for us to be able to guarantee. We are going to guarantee this bonus for 3 years. So what you're looking at on this screen, on the left-hand side, you're going to see the at-issue premium of $100,000, right? Well, that $100,000 is going to get the 19% bonus. But then each year, years 1, 2, and 3, they add $5,000 as well. And during those 5 years, each and every one of those $5,000 gets an extra 19%. So you're going to, even if you add money to it years 2, 3, 4, or 1, 2, and 3, you're going to get that extra 19% bonus, which is huge. We're not just going to only leave it up to the upfront premium. We are going to guarantee it for the first 3 years. And the other cool thing about that, guys, is technically speaking, in contract year 4, I know in this scenario, it's showing the guaranteed amount of 0%. Technically in year 4, you could still get a bonus. There's just no guarantee as to what that bonus would be. The bonus would be set at 0% in this instance, but you could technically still get a bonus. All righty. Another cool thing that we did here on this page,
Hey,
I'm not going to
Austin,
spend too much.
I'm sorry
Yeah, go ahead.
can we go back just a minute? Can we talk a
Yeah,
little bit, and I don't know if I'm jumping ahead of your presentation,
yeah,
but as far as, me preaching to my agents, it's the year of the bonus and
yeah.
replacing old annuities that are not performing like today's annuities do.
Yep.
What is your kind of guideline view on surrender charges and
Absolutely.
replacements?
So yeah, I was going to touch on that here in suitability. What I'll do, I'll give you guys like a real quick 20 to 30-second glance or conversation about what we are okay with, what we will accept, etc. And then at the end, I'll go in a little bit more depth on that. So we absolutely allow a bonus to offset surrender charges with us at North American. So I'm just going to use general numbers here, guys. If you have a 20% surrender and a 19% bonus, that bonus is obviously going to get you pretty close to back to where you were prior, right? Because you have the 19 or the 20% surrender charge and then 19% bonus. What we will accept is we will accept up to a 5% maximum net loss after any surrender charges or bonuses are applied. So if you get within a 5% range, meaning if you have 100,000 at the other company, and if when you bring it over to us, after the surrender charges, MBA, and bonuses, after everything is applied / taken out, as long as you get to 95,000 plus on that, because 95,000 is within 5% of 100,000 that you originally started with at the other company, we are comfortable with taking it. Obviously, we have to look at everything else. You have to make the case for it being a better product. But let's say if our rates on this are 2 times what that other contract is, you can absolutely make the case that it is a better fit, right? The big hurdle number, or the hurdle that you have to get over from day one, though, is just knowing that you have to get within a 5% net loss of that other company, other product that you're in, and then we can take that, making sure that everything else works. So
And I can tell you guys,
I'll
industry wide, that is very, very competitive. If you guys are not taking advantage and asking your clients, that question, oh, do you have any other annuities? They've come a long ways, or however you want to phrase it, you're missing out on hundreds of millions of dollars of opportunity because it's out there and products are
ab-
10 times better.
absolutely, and I mean, obviously state insurance departments, the word replacements, I don't want to say it's always had a negative term, right? Because replacements have always been around. But when there's a lot of replacements, people always started to think, oh gosh, all they do is replace business, churning, yada, yada, yada. Our present thoughts on that are that with today's rates, we consider them upgrades, right? If you have a
Hmm.
contract issued 3, 4, 5 years ago, the rates are more than likely half of what you can get in today's
Hmm.
environment. So you are absolutely putting the client in a better situation, right?
Yeah.
And that's how our suitability team looks at that. So that's why we widened our guidelines. We used to accept up to about 2% in net loss. We went to 5% because we know all of a sudden with caps and rates, if they are 2.5, 3 times what you could get 3, 4, 5 years ago, you're going to make up that loss a lot quicker. And then eventually long term, it's going to be a better fit. So like Lisa had mentioned, you're missing the boat if you're not at least looking for opportunities to upgrade some of your clients and put them in better situations.
For sure.
I'll touch a little bit more on like suitability and what we're cool with, except, in terms of net loss at the end. Again, I'll kind of recap that. But yeah, for now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to round it out on our indexes on this option, because um, obviously you're going to, want to know, hey, what can I expect after I get the bonus, right? The bonus is great, but if from there on out it performs poorly, it's not a great product. So what you'll see is on this, you're going to see all of our options that we have, whether it's an annual point to point, 2-year point to point, etc. But then you'll see on the right-hand side all of those indexes and, obviously the index name. You'll see Barclays is highlighted in those. That's because those are new indexes that we've just now added to this contract as of the 23rd. It was an index that we had on a product called the Control X here at North American, and that index crushed it last year. I think the Barclays 12 index was up about 19.4% last year itself. So it was an index that crushed it. We wanted to open it up to the products that we have on our shelf and obviously give you guys more options to choose from on this Charter Plus series. But the more important thing, obviously, is to look at, okay, well, what have they historically done, right? And what you're looking at on this page is a ton of different numbers, guys. So I know it's hard to see with how small it probably is. But I love this sheet because it's called our rate spotlight. And what it does is on the far left-hand side, this column over here, it shows you all of the different indexing options that we have. And then if you jump over to the next column, it shows the rates for each and every one of those indexes. And then lastly, so what we're going to do here is I'm just going to focus on these three columns. Let's say last 10 years, high, and low. What these do is they show you what our indexes are illustrating at based on the last 10 years, the highest ever 10 years, and then the lowest ever 10 years. So you don't have to run an illustration for each specific index to see what they've performed at or what they're illustrating at. You can just look at this sheet and say, I know I'm interested in the 2-year Fidelity. So I'm going to highlight that down here, right? The 2-year Fidelity has a 160% participation rate on our 10-year contract. And over the last 10 years, it's averaged 6.51%. Well, there you go, right? So I love this sheet because you can see the range of different indexes that we have and what they're illustrating at. And what you'll notice, I mean, we're going to have illustrated rates all the way from 2.45 on the fixed rate all the way up to 10.83 at the bottom here on different contracts. So not only are you getting a tremendous bonus up front, we're not going to cut you a ton on rates. Obviously, we have to take a little bit from the rates. You're going to see other contracts that we have that have slightly higher rates than this because they don't have a bonus or maybe no income rider, but you're still getting a very, very strong option in terms of the index and crediting strategies that you have on this contract. All right, so I believe that's my last slide here. Yes, real quick, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over our suitability guidelines. I know I touched on it. I'm going to try to go a little bit more in depth, guys, maybe give you an example here. So as I mentioned, we will take up to a 5% net loss as long as you can make the case that our product is a better fit. So I'm going to go back to the rate page as I do this comparison here. So let's assume that you have a $100,000 contract at another company, right? Well, let's say that contract, after surrender charges and MBA, they are going to occur. And I know this is a high amount, guys, but there's policies out there that have high surrender charges like this. Let's say you're incurring a 15% surrender, right? So if you have $100,000 and if you incur a 15% surrender, that means that you're going to have $85,000 left over after the surrender. Well, after we apply our 19% bonus to that 15% surrender on $85,000, you're at $101,150. So in that instance, you're actually above your previous account value. So you start out in the green or you start out ahead. But let's look at a scenario where you have even a slightly higher surrender charge. Let's say if you had a 20% surrender charge, that would leave you $80,000 because $100,000 minus the 20%, $80,000 after that surrender charge. Then let's add the 19% bonus. After that 19% bonus on $80,000, that gets you to $95,200. So that is just within our 5% gap there that we have, guys, our 5% threshold. Let's say on that other contract, it has a 2% cap, and you're going to move it to our contract here that has a 5% cap. I'm going to circle it here. So the client is now getting within that 5% threshold that we have, right? You're not above 5%. You're technically at about 4.8% in terms of total net loss. And now all of a sudden you have a contract with a 5% cap versus a 2% cap on the old one. And on that, and then another thing to look at, guys, let's say if that old contract only had 2 or 3 indexing options. Another thing when you're looking at suitability that you can put on the suitability form, comparison form, is that we have up to 20 different indexing options to choose from, whereas the old contract had, only 3 or 4. So that's just other things that help when it comes to suitability. More options are better for the client because of diversification or options that they can choose to. But in that situation, because the client got within a 5% net loss, that is something that we will take. I'm going to talk about this real quick here too, guys. I'm not going to go over the product, but our benefit solutions is an income product, and it's really good for income immediately. If you can guarantee the client more income with our benefit solutions when they plan to take income, we can take up to a 10% net loss on the benefit solutions. Every other product is a 5% net loss. The Charter Plus, our VersaChoice, our Performance Choice 8, etc. It's a 5% net loss. But if we can guarantee more income, we will take up to a 10% loss on our benefit solutions, guys. So I wanted to make sure I covered that as well here. And Lisa, that is all that I had and wanted to cover here on the Charter Plus. I don't know if you had any questions, anything you wanted me to go more in depth on.
I don't see any questions.
Super excited about the changes.
Oh my gosh, yes. And the fact that you're going to take, and I get that question a lot too, people calling in, well, they have an income rider, they're still in surrender. And I'll just pull it up, and North American will beat them out hands down on an old policy, with our payout, with the payout rates that you guys have, and bonuses, rider bonuses, and things like that. We can absolutely put them in a better situation than they were in 5 years ago. I'd say 99.9% of the time. So again, opportunity being lost if you're not asking those questions. Shoot, there was one other thing I think I wanted to talk about.
I'll put a
Um,
plug in here real quick for our suitability team too, and if it
yeah.
comes to you while I talk on this, um, we can. Just know, guys, too, our suitability team will take phone calls from the field.
Mhm.
So similar to our suitability pre-check, if you ever have some of those situations where you're just like, gosh, I don't know, is someone going to take this? It's what the client wants to do, but will a company take this? You can call our suitability team and get their general feel. They can't tell you yes or no on the phone, but they can give you their general feel as to whether or not it's a case that they will take, that we will take. They may push you towards the suitability pre-check if it's really, really close, but it's also good to just be able to call in and get a sense as to whether or not we know. If you call Lisa or myself, we'll give you our thoughts as to whether or not our suitability team will take it. But at the end of the day, the suitability team is the ones making the decision. So that can just do you guys a lot of good. Hey,
Mhm.
you're talking directly to the source making a decision, and they can give you, absolutely with the information you're giving me. I don't see any problem with that. We should be able to take it. Obviously, we got to see the rest of the information, but with what you've given me, I think we should be able to. They might give you a general piece of information like that. So just really good stuff that they can take phone calls. So,
Absolutely. Well, I completely lost my thought because I was so blown away by the replacement opportunity. So,
well, it's
um,
Friday. You know what? Our minds are already on the weekend. I get it. We're ready to go.
oh boy, oh boy. Yes. Well, looks like we're gonna get you guys back to your clients and prospecting a little early. Um, I will be sending everybody an email with a copy of this recording so you can always go back if you thought you missed something. For those of you who are new to us, please give us a call. Let's have a quick conversation. Um, and then I'm gonna shoot you all, the highlights, the brochures, the rates that Asta was kind enough to shoot over to me, as well as the bullet points. Um, there is anything else that you need, illustrations, you want to see what this looks like, maybe run a replacement case by me. Holler, shoot me an email, whatever. Talk if I'm not available, talk to another director because I mean this is going to be the year to do it, guys. Um, Other than that, I just want everybody to have a fantastic weekend. And Austin, I can't tell you enough how much we appreciate your partnership in North American. You guys have been great team players with us here at ARMS.
Lisa, you are fantastic. Everyone on the call, thank you. And Lisa, everyone else, have a fantastic weekend.
All right, be safe out there, folks. Have a good day.